on Ted Lasso. I just couldn't. He got on my nerves. I couldn't watch him. I didn't get what it was about, but now I can't turn it off.
Yeah.
Love it.
So good. It's so good. You almost have to watch it a couple of times because to get all the points that are being made, because it moves so fast, but it really is quite clever.
Is that the only show you're binging? Do you have another one in your pocket?
I only sort of do one at a time. So right now it's Ted Lasso, but I'm a big fan of a bunch of different shows. One that I was also a big fan of was Ozarks, Jason Bateman. I thought that was a great one. Couldn't stop watching that one.
So good. I was so floored by Bateman. That's when I realized he was an amazing actor too. It wasn't just funny. He's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Jerry, what are you watching?
I still watch a lot of traditional TV, like, Sunday morning kind of thing, but I don't binge much. Although lately, I will say that I've been reviewing all of the John Wick sagas so that I can enjoy this fourth. It's cool. You know.
John Wick 4, unbelievable.
Yeah.
A little bit long, but yeah, really good.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, you ready to get going?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to the CXR channel, our premier podcast for talent acquisition and talent management. Listen in as the CXR community discusses a wide range of topics focused on attracting, engaging, and retaining the best talent. We're glad you're here.
I think a year ago we talked about getting rid of that music, and now I can't stop getting jiggy with it. Like every time it comes on, I want to keep playing it. I want to welcome you if you have dialed in, if you're listening to us, if you're watching us, that's wonderful. Welcome to the Recruiting Community podcast show. I am Chris White. I'm your host for the next 20 minutes or so. I have my spirit animal, Jerry Crispin. Is it spirit animal? I thought it was
whatever. I never
soulmate, spirit animal. Anyway, Jerry's here today. Look, we do this show weekly. If you're with us live and you've got a chat window that's there, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. I think we're in a couple channels on each of those. But if you're with us live and there's a chat window, go ahead and jump in, say hello. That's a great chance for you. If you want to go ahead and drop in your LinkedIn profile, you can do a little networking there. If you've got questions for our guests today, I'm super excited about our guests today and some stuff we're going to share and talk a little bit about. And you can chime in. And who knows, if we like you enough and your comment isn't dumb, we're going to put it up on the screen and we're going to share that for you. But Jerry, before we do that, before we jump in with our guest, there's some work that's been done out of our nonprofit that we've been touting, and it's TA Talk Tank. And folks can see that. I think we actually even have a little boom. Look at that. It's fancy. tatalktank.com. And I think the idea here is we've sort of reimagined mentoring. Right. So it's not a big, complicated mentoring platform. It's fast. It's a rapid fire approach to making these connections. It's free. And I have to tell you, I had 2 conversations last week. I got another request this morning when I was back in the office, just had the cousin strip. So I'm back in the office. I got another request. And then I reached out early this morning because there's a leader I'd like to really learn a little bit from and connect on there. So I'm happy with the platform so far. It's crushing it, but give us your take on it. What do you think about this project so far?
I love it. It's the point is it's casual, and mentoring probably is not the right word. It's like, pick your brain, let's do a virtual coffee, whatever. I like the fact that it's really committed to just, one, event, if you will. And if it goes beyond that, great. But fundamentally, anybody who wanted to think about job, career, or, life in general in relation to TA, and you see a profile of somebody that you would like, whose brain you'd like to pick, they volunteered. By putting themselves out there, they volunteered to have that conversation. And I've got a couple set up, actually one today.
Oh, good.
So I look forward to it. And I hope that everyone who engages in saying, hey, I'd like to pick your brain. Can we have a virtual coffee about X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
I hope they become a mentor and profile themselves to pay it forward.
Because you can do both. You can be
Yes,
a
of
mentor or
course.
a mentee on it. And I think you're right. The mentoring, maybe not the right word, maybe a little too formal, but I will steal, it was somebody else's line, but they mentioned there was a point in their career where they sat down and had about a 45-minute conversation with a colleague that completely changed the direction of their career. It just made them think about something different. I think that's what we're looking to sort of replicate. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So look, it's free. It's done by our nonprofit. If you're interested, if you want to be part of it, a mentor or a mentee, check it out. It's tatalktank.com. It's just that easy. So with that, let's welcome our guest today. I think it's his first time on the show. There he is, Mr. Reynolds.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi, Chris. Hey, Jerry. Thanks for having me.
We're super excited that you're here. Always love catching up with you. We've had the opportunity to really get to know you a little bit better within the last year or so,
Yep.
and that's just been wonderful. But you've got some pretty big news
Yeah.
to talk about today. So, but before we get into that, Anthony, let me ask you to just kind of give a little bit of an escalator pitch on who is Anthony Reynolds,
Yep.
a little bit of history there, and why do we care what Anthony Reynolds has to say today?
All right. I'll try. Let's see how I do. Thanks.
You got this.
Yeah, no, I'm Anthony Reynolds. I'm the CEO of HireVue. I joined in February 2022 as the CEO. I'm based in California in the Bay Area. I live in a town called Los Gatos, and I'm originally from Canada. I'm actually born and raised in Canada, and I moved to the Bay Area in 2005. I've been in enterprise software for the last 25 or so years. And if you look at kind of the red thread through my career, a lot in data analytics, line of business applications. And so just super excited about the opportunity we have here at HireVue, and, some exciting news, as Chris talked about, that we're going to talk about today.
So for those who may have been living under a rock for the last decade or so, can you tell them what HireVue does?
Yeah, sure. So we invented the entire video interviewing space. And so what we do is video on-demand interviewing and assessments, all backed by science. And then we add the automation around text, invites, and reminders so that candidates can engage with our talent experience platform in a real-time way. And, we're the leaders in the space, and we've been doing this since 2004, and everything that we do is powered by artificial intelligence in making fairer, better hiring decisions and improving the experience for both recruiters and candidates.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it. So you've had a competitor for a little bit of a while that you've recently acquired, right? So Modern Hire has sort of been in the space. Sales teams have been punching each other in the nose back and forth, some friendly competition.
Yeah.
The teams on both, I have to say, are really awesome people.
Yeah.
On both sides of that equation. But why would HireVue acquire Modern Hire? Like, what's in it for HireVue?
Well, when I came to HireVue, we had a thesis that there was an incredible opportunity ahead of us, right? And we felt that in the pre-hiring talent experience segment, there was an opportunity to scale and grow. And so when we looked around at opportunities to scale the business, we looked at both how we would organically grow and things that we would do to develop and innovate around our own product solution. And we also looked at what were the things inorganically from a mergers and acquisition perspective. Now, we're very fortunate in terms of our size and our scope, but also our investment partner that we have in Carlisle that supported our thesis to grow and scale. And so we made the acquisition of Modern Hire. We announced that on May 9th, and we're super excited about the opportunity it has in bringing these two great companies together. And as you mentioned, two great teams.
Yeah, they're great folks. So what would, I guess, if you were going to summarize it, Anthony, what would be the big wins? All right, the big takeaways, right, as a result of the acquisition, right? So for customers, as an example, what are they going to get out of this?
I mean, there's really close alignment from a vision and mission perspective in terms of how we think about connecting talent to opportunity. And so both organizations see that. The other fundamental thing is that both organizations have a foundation of science as the background or backbone of the company. And so between the two companies, we now have 60 plus PhDs in IO psychology, data science.
Wow.
So that foundation in science is very important. We also are big proponents of ethical AI in terms of making it transparent and open. And you'll remember that HireVue a year ago was the first HR tech vendor to produce an AI explainability statement, which in a 30-page white paper details how we tune, build, test all of our AI, right? And this is all in the spirit of making it a fair hiring process for candidates to find the right jobs at the right time. And then when you look at the product complement, there's a great opportunity for HireVue customers to benefit from the virtual job tryouts or the realistic job previews that Modern Hire provides today. At the same time, for Modern Hire customers, they now can benefit from all the text, chat, invites, reminders, job search, calendaring, all the automation functionality that HireVue has been so dedicated to innovating around over the last couple of years. And then the third thing is really now we've got an assessment for any job, right? And so doesn't matter what job you're looking for, we have an assessment to help you get hired into that right position.
I love that. Look, so Anthony, I think this morning, so there was an AIM headline, Peter's AIM group, which we love those guys. Everybody should check them out. I think they said AI, there was a quote that came out of an interview, but AI was going to be the foundation of interaction between candidates and companies.
Yeah.
Just hands down, right? The foundation of interaction between candidate companies. And I think in that same newsletter, they said recruiter.com announced they're going to spin off and create their own AI company.
Yeah.
So in that same vein, right? We're talking about AI. We're talking about the science. How do you think AI or even this generative AI that everybody is trying to figure out how to take advantage of? How do you think that's going to help augment the product solution at HireVue, especially with this new acquisition?
Well, first off, Chris, we've been doing AI for the last 7 years here at HireVue, right?
Yep.
And everything that we build our AI on is around natural language processing and how it assesses and scores candidates. But there's a lot of work that goes into building good AI in terms of having the guardrails, in terms of testing and how we think about that. I mentioned the AI explainability statement, which goes into a lot of detail on how that's built. I think for other companies and sometimes for the general population, AI is seen as a little bit of this black box, right? They don't know how the AI is making decisions. And we've really tried to lead from the front in being open and transparent around it. Now, the good news is generative AI or ChatGPT in the last 6 months has really consumerized AI so that everyone now has a viewpoint on what it is and what it can do, right? And so for us, it has a number of interesting applications. But we want to, as we move forward, move carefully in the context of everything that we do has those same guardrails in terms of how we're testing and how we're looking at it.
Yeah.
But in the pre-screen environment or pre-hire environment in which we operate, there's a number of interesting applications, right? So first off, at HireVue, we're very much skills first. We're big believers in skills first. And so you can use something like ChatGPT to create a role description, right? On what does a role need to look like. The other thing that's very interesting, or the application that I find fascinating, is if you buy into this idea of skills are a good predictor of future or potential jobs, you can then go into ChatGPT and you can say, hey, what are the other possible jobs that might be applicable for me? Okay. And so let's compare and contrast maybe old world to new world. New world being kind of the, hey, software is eating the world and every industry is being more tech led, right? One of the biggest skill sets that retailers are now looking for is actually technical skill sets,
Mm.
right? Now, if I go into ChatGPT and I'm a financial analyst at an investment bank, and I was recently on a panel for a large global investment bank. And I said, look, last night I actually went in and I put financial analyst for an investment bank. Well, what are other opportunities that I might qualify for? Well, it turns out those skill sets are very good for being a head of financial planning and analysis with inside of a company. It also turns out you could be a member of a corporate development team looking at mergers and acquisitions. It also turns out you could have good opportunities in the venture capital arena or in the hedge fund arena. Okay, that's interesting. I put in, hey, what are the applicable jobs for a CEO? Now, ChatGPT in this area wasn't so friendly. They said, hey, I could do an operations role. They said, hey, I might be a good strategy role.
You
I
might
told
be.
Chris,
They said
honestly,
but turnover is so high among CEOs that
Yeah.
maybe it's just, not so good.
I kind of felt like I was getting a demotion. So I think we need to tune that a little better. But in all seriousness, right? I went a couple steps further and I looked at primary school teachers. Okay. And any of us who have kids that have gone to school, we had the most admiration for school teachers, right? In what they do in educating our kids. Turns out those skills are incredibly valuable.
Yep.
Okay. An elementary school teacher can be a curriculum developer in a tech company. They can be a head of training and an enablement. They can even be in pre-sales. They're very good at taking a lot of of information and aggregating it and making it simple. And so when you think of old world versus new world, and by the way, in the next 10 years, fact, there is going to be nearly 100 million new jobs that didn't exist today that are new jobs. Okay. Go and look. There is such a thing as a prompt engineer now, which is a chat GPT engineer. That job did not exist 6 months ago.
True. And a lot of those teachers want them, unfortunately, rather than stay at teaching. So that's a whole different.
Well, if you've spent some time sort of futzing around with Chat GPT, trying to get to the end of a real challenge, you wish you had a prompt engineer, at your fingertips.
So Anthony, one of the questions that I have, and I think it's important for us as we move forward in this whole area of AI. And I love the fact, one of the things that I really admire in terms of the moves that you've made and the moves that Modern Hire has made is that you have accumulated a significant number of really experienced scientists in the talent acquisition field.
Yeah.
That is pretty powerful, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people recognize how important that should be in the future. And as you build quality into the claims that you make, it seems to me that increasingly in our industry, we need to have independent views, if you will, of how well you have done to meet those claims. And I'm a fan of the fact that at this point, if you do all the work and you've figured it out in terms of how you're going to improve the value of your service to an employer, that employer should be saying, okay, how have you independently tested, because you mentioned that a couple times, how have you independently tested what you claim you can do, and who is it that's doing that?
Yeah.
And so increasingly, I'm curious, are you looking to partner with independent groups that have the skill sets to test or challenge, if you will, your claim of the work that you've done, as well as what do you think about the fact that we should be, as a voice of the industry, pushing more for our peers and colleagues to also be able to do the same thing.
Well, Jerry, I'm a big proponent of what you just mentioned. I think it starts from the top and from a leadership perspective. One of the moves I made in bringing these two great teams together is having a chief science officer, Mike Hootie, who reports directly to me. He was a founder of Shaker, part of my executive management team, as that person that's going to help us navigate this journey. But I would then go to, I'm a big believer in the openness and the transparency of everything we do. I do think as an industry and as a group of vendors, it's on us to seek out these independent viewpoints to validate the work that we're doing.
Great.
And we subscribe to that, and we're doing that actively today. And third, I would say it's on us also to work with the different regulators and legislators around the globe. Now, that's not an easy task. As you know, it's very fragmented. It's very fragmented between what's going on in Europe versus what's going on in the US. And even within the US, at a state, city level, it's very fragmented.
Yep.
But it's on us as a group and as an industry to help first educate and then shape the appropriate guardrails that need to be in place so that everything that we're doing is in the context of ethical AI to make better hiring decisions and to mitigate any bias that's in the process.
I absolutely agree. And I'm convinced that as a collective industry, if not just you, but if you and others had reached out, if you will, and found independent groups to be able to kind of test where you're at. And then we got that independent group of, let's say, 15 or 20 different folks who are servicing folks like yourself together so that they could establish some standards for the methodologies around how they do that. Then I think we'd be in a better position as a collective group to influence those regulators, if you will, who are out there setting up all those fragmented laws, if you will.
Yeah.
And perhaps they would be able to be a little more consistent and supportive of what we're trying to accomplish.
No, it's on us, and we need to lead from the front, and we will continue to do that at HireVue in working with the different groups, and frankly, working with folks like Chris and yourself that are very good at bringing industry leadership together on some of these viewpoints. So totally aligned there.
Great.
Well, I love that engagement level too, and that, you know, it scares me to think that we aren't influencing or shaping that as an industry, and that some of our government officials who seem to have trouble operating their own phones would be making decisions around, you know, technology and how it works for hiring. That scares me a little bit. Anthony, let me ask you one more question before, because I want to be mindful of your time. Are you guys conquering the world? Are there future plans for more acquisitions? Do you have more down the road that you're looking to sort of snatch up and expand?
Well, like I said, we announced the acquisition on May 9th, and we're going to take the next few months around the integration and make sure from a people, product, process perspective, we're looking at the best of and bringing these two great companies together. But yeah, as we go forward over the next 12, 24 months, we're looking out into the market and saying, how can we continue to grow and scale? That's one of the things we're super excited about now, is just the scale of the operations globally, from Europe to Asia, back to North America, in being able to serve our customers and bringing these two companies together. We now serve 62 of the Fortune 100. We have 1,150 customers across almost every industry. We serve some of the biggest agencies in the federal government because, of course, HireVue is FedRAMP certified. And so we're just going to be maniacally focused on delivering value to our customers and continuing to innovate while looking for opportunities in the marketplace to grow and scale.
I love it.
I want to see that tagline, maniacally focused.
I was just going to say, I'm stealing maniacally focused. If maniacallyfocused.com isn't already taken, I might be catching that up right after this. Well, look, Anthony, I lied. I have one more question for you.
That's good.
We ask at the end of every show, we ask all of our guests if they were going to write a book right now about the space or about this topic. What would the title of that book be?
Oh, to me, it's all about getting the right people in the right jobs at the right time. Let's just make it Sesame Street simple. Getting the right people in the right jobs at the right time. And there's so much to unpack on that. And maybe we do another podcast. But I continually see kids coming out of college that are looking for internships. I sit in Silicon Valley and I have friends that are executives at Google, Apple, Netflix, Facebook, and they can't find interns and new grads. And there's, we need to help figure this out. And so everything that we're trying to do at HireVue is to connect that talent to opportunity. And that's our mission. And we still have a lot of work to do in that area.
I love it. Well, you got a servant's heart. I mean, it's obvious. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, very last question. Present company excluded.
Yeah.
Who do you give the first signed copy to?
Oh, I probably give it to one of my lifelong mentors, John Schwartz. He's the chairman of Vizier. You guys probably know him. He's the person that brought me down to the Bay Area in 2005. I worked for him at Business Objects. From a career perspective, he's taught me a lot about what it means to be a good leader and a good human. So I probably pen it to him and send it to him.
It's great. I don't know him, but we know Lexi Martin, who's also at Vizier and just a lovely person.
Yeah.
I love it. Anthony, you are a super maniacally busy man. So we're wildly grateful. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you joining us for a quick chat.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jerry. Always a pleasure. Be well.
Yeah. Now hang out in the green room. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you back in there. Really quickly, one final reminder, Jerry and I have got for you. If you didn't catch it at the beginning of the show, tatalktank.com. It is free. You can be a mentor, coach, mentee, coachee. But join in tatalktank.com. We're making words up. It's the end of the show, Jerry.
I think it's great.
Yeah, but you can join that labor of love put together by the CXR Foundation nonprofit that we've got. If you have interest in that, check out tatalktank.com. If you've got interest in the foundation and the work that goes on there, I think we have another couple of really, really cool projects that are coming up. CXR.foundation. And with that, we're just going to say goodbye to everybody. So, Jerry, say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the CXR channel. Please subscribe to CXR on your favorite podcast resource and leave us a review while you're at it. Learn more about CXR at our website, cxr.works, facebook.com and twitter.com/careercrossroads, and on Instagram at careerxroads. We'll catch you next time.